So last night I watched a video. So Jordan Peterson's daughter, Michaela, is getting a divorce. And I didn't know what to make of it. I was like, should I even talk about this? Because I don't have a take, but I just bring it up because the feeling that I had, I was like, I think this exposes a weakness in Jordan's philosophy about the world, honestly. And I don't think the fact that she got divorced did, but I've heard him talk about relationships in a way, this is the most important, best, and only thing to do once you hit a certain level of maturity.
Sorry, so you and I have talked about the software, but can you just start by saying, like, give your summary of Jordan Peterson's
of what I believe Jordan has said
philosophy is, and then we can talk about why the divorce.
Got it. So broadly, well, I don't even know if it counters it, but what things that I've heard him say include he's talked about professional athletes and been like, it is the conquest, which I agree, for more and more women at some point is simultaneously remarkable that you can do that and unfulfilling. And really what you ought to do is be able to get a lot of different women if you're a professional athlete, but choose one, because that is where the fulfillment of life comes from.
That's the Jordan Peterson take.
Yes. And I've found that to be unsatisfying because when challenged, people be like, well, what about this? Be like, well, what else are you going to do? Like it's not a very complete discussion of being single or polyamory or of the dangers of attaching yourself to one person and saying it's going to be forever. By the way, I think it made more sense in Jordan's upbringing in his small town. I think his daughter had a very different life than he is exposed to a lot more things, a lot more options. And I think that we need a better defense of marriage than I think than he's given, quite frankly. For our society, and I've been dissatisfied with what he's done, and it breaking down so close to him. I would be very interested in what he had to say because I think it does expose like, hey, attaching yourself to someone else is maybe not always the best. Maybe it's a risky endeavor. Maybe it's, you know what I mean. Maybe
it's definitely risky. I mean, his whole medically induced coma came from drug withdrawal that came from mental anguish he had because he thought his wife was going to die. Mm-hmm. Like that whole spiral came from that loss being so painful. So certainly it comes with the risk of emotional pain. And I think he would say that it's well worth it, but it's definitely not all upside to be in a monogamous marriage. But I don't think he would say it was.
I agree. What I've felt in the past is that he has not adequately addressed, like he talks about clearly and I think eloquently about the downsides of serial encounters and oftentimes the lack of fulfillment that can result from that.
Oh, you think that I
don't think he's given the devil its due regards to marriage, which is like,
that's fair.
It's got a lot of downsides and it's got a huge problem and it doesn't work out most of the time and people often dislike each other to the point of never wanting to hang out again, even after having created children together. Like, and I'm not saying that's the case with his daughter and her. I don't know what their situation is. And I don't know if this is going to cause it, but I've wanted from him a more complete addressing of the seriousness and the complexity of the issue of setting yourself up with someone else, and also an acknowledgement of the fact that as technology is advanced and as we're able to supplant a lot of the reasons that people did get married, which is like you needed kids to till the farm, you needed someone to take care of you, you were old. It's like increasingly there's an app for that. So, so I'm open to it, but like give me a full-throated defense of it in modern society that acknowledges the sincere and serious downsides to lifelong commitment and marriage, which one of them being divorce. And it's fine if he can't do that, but this is something that I think about consistently in my day to day. And the person that I want to talk to the most is Russell Brand.
Really?
Quite related to this.
I pick Clooney.
Clooney is interesting too. Like the guys that's
the guy. If I could have one, listen, we're both going to take truth serum. We're not going to put on air, and we're just going to sit and chat about relationships and marriage and monogamy and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. George Clooney is the guy I want to sit across the table from for sure.
Yeah, well, I would say it's broadly speaking, it's the guys that I know have gone to I think have gone to the absolute bottom of the experience of doing whatever you want sexually and dating and having famous and less famous and public relationships who have done all of that.
So Russell
and chosen something else.
Russ will be awesome to talk to as well. He does have a penchant for addiction that I think might make being single more dangerous and less fulfilling because I think my impression is it's tough for him to engage in casual relationships without it becoming compulsive and addictive. And so I think that for him, marriage might also be a way to actually free himself from that cycle where he's like, me being single is just me becoming addicted to sex, basically. That's my hypothesis for part of it based on what I've seen him talk about.
Yeah. I'd be curious of Michaela's perspective, growing up with a dad that has pretty conservative perceptions of marriage and all that kind of stuff, and having an experience that I'm sure was not easy for her to step away we're going to get a divorce. I'd be super interested in what she thinks about it and what she reflects on that. So,
Justin, actually, could you just go ahead and get George Clooney and Leonardo DiCaprio, and we'll just sit down. Charlie and I'll just moderate. We can just
Leonardo
have them
DiCaprio
discuss.
is another interesting guy.
I just want to hear them discuss lifelong single versus
Leonardo
kids.
DiCaprio is a private person. It seems like only really shows up to talk about things. It's a running joke in Hollywood. Quite frankly, I don't know how he hasn't gone down for Me Too. That his girlfriends are always very, very young comparatively to him.
Not like 19. They're like 24.
I think he starts dating some at 19. I could be wrong.
Well, I don't know.
I think, and which is...
I'd be surprised. But
yeah. Which, by the way, I think, and we talked about this last time, I think that's you should be able to date a 19-year-old without having the Twitter descend upon you and say that this is an abuse of power or something like that. Otherwise, while I do agree that can occur in those situations, and it's probably not the wisest decision, we want to treat people like adults when they're adults. And otherwise, if they can't make decisions about who they have sex with, it doesn't really make sense for them to be deciding to go to war, voting for U.S. president. Like you need that. You need basic agency and responsibility in order to make those decisions. So, yeah, talk to Leo as well if he wants to come on.
All right, so Justin, it's George Clooney, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Get him to answer the question that he's never answered in front of anyone ever before, which is what's up with all the young girlfriends, dude? Like, how are you fulfilled? And the stories I will tell you in LA, which I normally wouldn't repeat, but increasingly they're like turning out to be true. Like everyone was saying, Will Smith is a swinger, and he and his wife, way before the August Alsina thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then he writes his book. It's like, I was doing it too. It's like, it's all true.
They were rumored to be open. When I was doing open relationships, they were rumored to be open. That was like
I don't buy it. And then he writes it and it's true. So the stories that you hear about Leonardo DiCaprio, which are complete, what is the word? There's no basis upon this.
Yeah.
But it's like from the person who was at the party. It said that, he has a lot of random sex with people at parties. And the story that I heard is he has an assistant who will show you out afterwards in a polite,
I wonder if he does NDAs.
Firm way. I have no idea.
Well, that might be why no one comes out.
Maybe. Who knows?
The old NDA.
Who knows? Anyway, that was total hearsay. So take that and a quarter will buy you a pack of gum in 1950. So anything else? Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.